freight industry can make such a big impact. Our next session here today would be the topic on building a greener supply chain strategies for sustainable freight transport. This session will explore how supply chain sustainability can be improved through greener freight and logistics. Can we transform the way goods move while making our planet greener? That is a really good question to answer. I'm pleased to welcome Uwe Dettmann, CEO of APX Solutions, and our moderator, Martin Vensky-Stalling, Senior Advisor and Management Consultant of Chiang Mai University Science and Technology Park. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our panelists and our moderator on the stage.
Back again in the afternoon for me, and the temperature is going up now because we have a fireside chat, right? But there's a fire here, so anyway, good to see you, Uwe.
Nice to see you too. Thank you for the opportunity.
Sure. No, we're very happy to have you here on stage. And how have you found Techsauce so far?
It's been a very fruitful morning. We had a very interesting session actually in this hall on digital transformation, and then we did quite a lot of traversing the booth and learning a lot of new things happening around us. So yeah, it was very good this morning.
There's a lot happening out there in here, right? So yeah, a lot. So yeah, let's circle back a little bit and do a bit of introduction. So you know, Uwe, you've been here in the freight business for like decades, I think, right? Like I talked to you last night at the pre-event, and you told me a little bit. Can you share a little bit on your history in freight?
Yeah, we shouldn't actually talk numbers at my age, but I spent most of my career in logistics, so I could say I dedicated my professional life to logistics for over 4 decades now. And
in Thailand, mainly, right?
No,
not only, but a lot in Thailand.
I started off in Germany, where I come from, and then moved from via UK, Switzerland, landed in Singapore, and then via Malaysia, Hong Kong, finally to Thailand, which is now my home. So I had the opportunity to really learn about different cultures, how different cultures apply logistics, unique situations of logistics, and that makes it so fascinating about logistics. It's an experience that is constantly changing and constantly challenging.
Yeah, you're talking to a real expert in the industry who knows Thailand, but also other markets really well. So at some point, you set up your company, the current company, APX. What made you do that? What kind of opportunity gap did you see in the market to start this business?
I think it's accumulation of my experiences in over the many years, and I've always aimed to do something that improves society in my life, using the experience that I've collected over the years. And when I looked at the overland transportation in Thailand, I really found this an interesting situation. In a way it's unique, because when you look at overland transportation, you have different market segments. You have, for example, the parcel express business, which over the last, I guess, 10 years or so, driven by e-commerce, has tremendously evolved and is now, I would say, world-class standard. We have mega companies, customer expectations are very high. Customers are demanding, they order today, they want to deliver tomorrow, sometimes even today. But the rest of the transport market, which is, let's say, the what we call the trucking. The trucking is stuck in the time warp for, I would say, more than 50 years.
So we're talking like mini trucks, minivans, 6-blower, 8-blower, and all these kind of things, right?
The trucking business is basically two categories. You have trucking companies, and there are very large trucking companies in Thailand. I mean, Thailand has 1.2 million registered trucks, so this is quite a number. And a lot of trucking companies just outsource their trucks to big customers, so they don't really, they just lease out the assets. And the other community of truckers, let's say medium and small size, they prefer to do full truckloads. And that means, as we said, mainly 6-blower or 8-blower, 4-wheel trucks, 6-wheel trucks, and they just go from point to point. Very simple.
So what's different in your model? Where did you see the gap? What are you doing differently?
Well, what we are trying to do here is to improve from the ground up. If you imagine the number of trucks, and if you are thinking of a 4-wheel truck carrying a load over maybe 300 or 600 kilometers, it's the inefficiency per se. The truck will go and come back empty. And if you take 26 4-wheel trucks, for example, you could put them onto the cargo onto an 18-wheel truck and get the cargo run in one time. So that means you would take 27 units off the roads. And what does that mean in terms of fuel consumption and carbon emission? I think everybody can imagine.
So it's LTL pallets, something like that is the key word, right?
We are addressing not the full truckload market. We are addressing the market that is between a parcel and a full truckload, because not every most customers today they don't have enough cargo to fill one truck. So what they have actually two choices. They either, if they want to ship it out, they will just pay for the whole truck, even though they don't use the whole truck, or they wait a few more days until they have enough goods to ship to that particular customer or to that particular destination. In case of APX, what we are doing is we are consolidating the cargoes according to destination and using large trucks to cover the long distance to reduce the number of trucks on the road.
So you have like a digital platform and then you have distribution centers, something like that, right?
Yes. The way it works in APX is we operate a digital platform connecting independent trucking companies around the country. And APX provides the backbone of the service, means A, the platform, and B, the physical hubs. And the physical hubs are also all over the country in strategic locations. And in these hubs, we transfer the cargo from one truck, let's say a small truck that will pick up, we'll bring it to the hub, and then when we consolidate, we will use the big truck going to the next hub.
So are these your trucks?
No, the trucks actually belong to our trucking partners. We refer to them as members because they operate in a specific area in Thailand. They have an exclusive area, or they perform specific functions. In a normal way, in order to optimize the load and to achieve our goals, we have one company that is specialized in picking up the various shipments. Another operator will provide us the big truck going to the next hub, and another operator would be the party that delivers the goods to the consignee. And all these parties are connected through our backbone, through our system.
So it's a bit like Airbnb or Uber, but a little bit different, but a bit similar, like a shared economy model, would you say?
In principle, our business is based on the sharing economy model. However, we offer a very definite product. We are not a platform that is connecting cargo to, let's say, a shipper and a trucker. We offer a very definite product, fixed schedules, and also very transparent pricing. Because what happens nowadays, if you would call 10 transport companies to move goods from A to B, you would get 10 different prices. And there is no transparency on the prices.
So if I'm these guys here in the conference, I have a business here in Bangkok, or they come from up country, and they have some product like this chair or something that can fit into a pallet. They contact your platform or they contact the company, and then you find somebody to pick it up. Is that the way it works for the end customer? So SMEs?
I think the easiest way would be to book on the platform, and then the process will start. The trucker, our member, responsible for the first mile collection, would then pick up the shipments and bring it to the hub. And from there it follows the process that I described earlier. All the stakeholders in this business, that means the trucker, also the customer, can see the progress of the shipment from the moment of booking. But if you mentioned small customer, we have customers of all sizes. We have medium, we have large, and they can book through our web interface, either through a CSV upload, or they can also set up an API with us. We cater for all kind of sizes.
So it's kind of we're here on the climate tech stage, and we're going to come to the climate and sustainability issues in a minute, but it's also kind of digital disruption, right? You provide, it's a very traditional industry actually, most of it, apart from the big guys, right? It's quite traditional.
It's a very traditional industry, and these are also the barriers that we are facing. It's more the mindset rather than the price or anything else.
So in a way you bring business opportunities to small trucking companies, and you also raise operating model and help them to go to the next level in terms of delivery, performance and all that?
Yes, actually, what we are doing, which is part of our program, is to improve the livelihood of our small or medium-sized trucking companies, especially those in the faraway provinces who do not really have access to big business, and they are also challenged with presenting their business in a very professional way. So the APX model is actually based on APX dealing with the customer, but at the same time we are bringing our members, the trucking companies, to the level that they can do it themselves, and they then will have the customer, but still the business is retained in the APX network. So if you are a small operator in a let's say in a faraway province, you could offer a daily delivery service to anywhere in the country, which today nobody can do, at a fixed price.
So transparency, service standards. Another, which I really found that interesting, because in the beginning I didn't quite understand why you made these strong sustainability claims. And actually I think you should get your slides ready, because we have a couple of slides. APX and Uber is basically saying they are very sustainable companies that is reducing greenhouse gases. And how does that work?
Yeah. I think that we have only 2 slides, so we are not going to bore you with a lot of numbers. In the first slide, you see that 80% of the trucks registered in Thailand are 4-wheel trucks. So that means really very, very small operators, and the level of service is it's very low, sometimes non-existent, sometimes it's good, but these are very small operators, and they operate individually without any service levels or with any pricing model or whatever.
Right.
So this is the interesting slide, and this is actually something extremely simple. A four-wheel truck has the capacity to carry, let's say, 1,000 kilo, 1 ton. And a 18-wheel truck can load 26 tons. So that means the shipment of 26 trucks, 26 four-wheel trucks, can be carried with one 18-wheel truck. Now what does that mean? The four-wheel truck is about, if you use the 26 four-wheel trucks, the emission is about 7 times of what an 18-wheel truck would create carrying the same kind of cargo, the same number of tons. And the fuel cost is also about 7 times when you make the calculation. So that's a tremendous number, you know. In fact, if you want to visualize it, make it very simple. Let's say we are going on a road trip to Chiang Mai. It's like 700 kilometers. And all of us drive the car. So there's 20 guys of us, or 25, and we would drive with 25 cars. So this is happy pollution. We could all go into a bus and relax and would be there at the same time, but we would have saved a lot of greenhouse gas emission. And this is the same kind of equation over here.
Right. Plus, you have a higher chance that they are going to be loaded, even on the way back, right? Because sometimes these come back empty or not fully loaded, the smaller trucks.
Yeah, usually, of course, there is, in every market, there is, the cargo is never balanced in both directions. But traditionally, or the numbers that we have is that 80% of the trucks, or 70 to 80% of the trucks come back with an empty, come back empty. So our aim is also to channel cargo and find loads on what we call the backhaul, going back to the base. And this, because we are not going from north to south 2,000 kilometers in one drive, we are actually like a relay going through our hubs. And in every hub, we also take the regional traffic. So we have inflow from both sides with cargo, increasing the chance of filling the trucks, rather than just having 2 points. So if I have a truck going to Bangkok, I can only have cargo going back to Bangkok when I come back from Chiang Mai. But in our case, there would be cargo coming back for Rayong, for Ayutthaya, or for Surat Thani, because everything has to go on that leg via Bangkok anyway.
It almost sounds a bit like Uber or Grab making an effort to have more passengers share the same trip, right? But then you're dealing with individuals. But here, it doesn't matter because it's pallets, it's cargo, right? So
yeah,
the cargo is happy.
The cargo is happy. Cargo is actually very happy because APX also moves all the goods. Unlike the traditional market today, we move all the goods on pallets, and that it means it's a lot of cargo integrity. When you transfer the goods at the hubs, you have a very low chance of damage. It's not manhandled. We also save the manual labor, which if you observe truck loading today, everything is manual labor. So that increases a lot of the cost and reduces the driving time of the trucks, which actually reduces the revenue of the truck owner. So pallets are very efficient and very safe as a method of overland transportation.
Right. I think that's pretty clear on the business model. Wanted to ask you a couple of other questions on the industry as a whole. Where do you see the sort of you being part of the freight industry? What's your wish for the industry? What do you hope to see happen to make it more efficient, more sustainable, a sort of more industry perspective?
I think think when overall in Thailand, but not only in Thailand, but let's talk about Thailand today. Thailand is a very important country in ASEAN. It's a very important country in the world, and it's a very strong manufacturing base. Yet, the logistics cost in percent of GDP in Thailand is almost twice as high as what you have comparable in Europe or USA. And this is one of the reasons that we just discussed earlier, is because the logistics operation, at least on the overland side, is very antiquated and high cost and not efficient. So going forward, I think for the industry to change, it has to go the way of digitalization. And not only digitalization as an individual company, but by including other stakeholders in the logistics chain, like customers, because logistics or transport actually starts at the time an order is created, not when the goods come across the dock. And in order to do that, digitalization means to have an open system through APIs, connecting with customers, connecting with other channel providers like payment gateways or insurance and the like. So basically, in my opinion, we need to create an ecosystem that includes all of these things, and it needs to include more trucking companies, not to be afraid I'm losing my business, but to open up and share the trucking market with all, because the end benefit is with the consumer, it is with the environment, but it's also with the trucking company.
As we discussed this morning in another panel, the role of transport in greenhouse gas emissions is obviously very significant. So making the industry more efficient and also both through digitalization but also new business models seems to be really important. Now I understand that you have several investors that help you to grow the business, and I wondered what's next. Where else, what can we expect from you, to the extent you can share?
Yeah, at this point I would like to say thank you to the people who put not only their faith in us but also their money, and we were lucky to have good angels in the very beginning, and then found a fantastic investor once we had traction during the pre-A round. Our plan has been from the beginning to be a ASEAN operator. So our aim is to go throughout all the ASEAN countries, and we have already started the process of setting up our operation in Malaysia, and we hope to start the operation in Malaysia in Q1 of next year. By that time, when we operate the domestic service in Malaysia in the same fashion as we do in Thailand here today, then we will also link the countries and have a cross-border or international traffic between Thailand, Malaysia and Singapore. Singapore is automatically included in our Malaysia plans.
So think regional right from the beginning. How about e-mobility? Does e-mobility have a place, with these heavy trucks and all that, or is it the feeder trucks? What about your plans for making e-mobility happen in freight?
Of course, we carry a large flag that says sustainability, and yes, we are looking at and we are closely monitoring the commercial electric vehicles that are available today. I think the first use we will see in the first and last mile delivery, so that means smaller trucks, not covering very long distances. But in order to make it really effective, there needs to be an infrastructure. I think there have been discussions here this morning of charging stations and battery swapping stations, because no trucking company can afford to go and plug in the truck and wait half an hour and then continue doing their business. Time is money, so there is the infrastructure is actually the more important and the more critical thing, and I hope that I can only join some of the speakers that I've heard. I hope that we will see strong support from the government for that. Then we can do our part to utilize this type of vehicles.
We're here at Techsauce Technology Conference, one of the biggest in Asia, if not the biggest. You are going to be here for a bit longer. What kind of conversations are you looking to have? What are you looking for here at Techsauce? Who do you want to find? What kind of ideas or partnerships?
I think this is a fantastic place to learn, to see new trends developing, to meet potential channel partners, to speak to maybe customers, and also take our case to investors, because the investment, as we see it, will not stop in the next round. So we have to always be prepared and look for the future financial safety or financial predictability.
Right. Well, time is up, so who will give you an invitation to come and talk to him when you see him walking around or after this, when we leave the stage. So do speak to him and ask him about his business. Also as a customer, maybe you've got something that needs to be more protected in panels. I thought it was an unexpected topic for me a little bit. I'm afraid I hadn't thought so much about it, but I was asked by Techsauce to sit down with Uwe, and then we started to talk about it, and I said, wow, this is really interesting. It's but both digital and sustainability, which I'm also very passionate about. We're going to finish now. I think Uwe might be at the workshop later at 3 p.m. upstairs, the sustainability workshop. The stays full, but I believe that if you show up, we might be able to still find your space. So it starts at 3 p.m. upstairs, talk about sustainability, what we can do, and because we will be connected with many of the speakers on the climate tech stage, we will also link back to some of the topics and discussions we had here. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much to Uwe Dettmann from APX.
Thank you very much.
I pass back to the MC. Thank you.
A big round of applause to Mr. Uwe Dettmann